Harry, Charles, Jack from White Lies, thanks for being here at the Peace Hall with me.
Thanks very much for having us.
What do you think of the venue?
Love it. It's beautiful. Yeah, feel like I recognise it from loads of TV shows and films. But yeah, it's great.
Nice backstage too.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah, sort of period, isn't it? It's like sewing machines and stuff on display back there, and it just feels like a proper old, almost a bit like a school hall. You sort of imagine like that old wooden PE equipment or something, but it's very cool.
Yeah. Harry, tell me, you're back and you're here supporting Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah.
A band, I guess, who've always been important to you.
Yes, certainly. Like throughout our whole lives, I suppose. We listened to them a lot when we were before our band even existed, and we had the chance to see them play on Sunday at Gunnersbury Park, and they were really excellent. So it's very heartening to see that. I don't know. It's always just nice when legendary bands are still really good. You know. Yeah.
And Jack, how is it being back out as White Lies?
It's good, yeah. I mean, it's been a bit of a gap between shows. I think before Sunday, we'd played a little show in Dundee a couple of weeks ago, but before that, it'd been 8 months or something since our previous show. So it's maybe one of the longest gaps that we've had between doing live stuff. And whilst I wouldn't say it felt incredibly natural to be back out on stage, it did at least go well. And it made me think, oh yeah, no, we will be fine. We just got to get back into the groove of it. It was kind of weird doing a London show first as well with them, because that's where it was so local to us. I can't really express how close it was to our houses. And so all of our family were there, and it was more like a sort of White Lies family picnic day out. But it was really good fun. We had a good time, yeah. And it felt nice to play to a big crowd again, yeah.
For sure. You've all known each other pretty much since you were kids, Harry, haven't you?
Yeah. We started playing music together when we were probably 15. Yeah. And I guess we started taking it seriously before we left school even. So yeah, we've known and worked together pretty much our whole adult lives, which is kind of mad, really.
Charles, what do you remember about Harry finding his voice? Because it's so distinctive, isn't it?
Well, funny, yeah. We in the very, very early days when we first, pretty much when we'd heard that Jack had a drum kit and some very lenient parents that would allow us to make noise in his bedroom, basically. We were just sort of jamming, and I think even though Harry had probably done a bit of sort of singing at school, choral type singing, actually for the first at least year, Harry more or less sort of rapped, or it was sort of Ian Dury style spoken word, and I don't know at what point we were writing something and Harry just sort of thought, well, I'll actually put a melody to this. So in a way, yeah, actually it probably did take a little bit of time to find for Harry to find his true singing voice, but yeah, it came eventually. And
interesting that Charles references that choral grounding, because is that where the magnitude of that voice of yours comes from?
I did. Yeah. I sang in the choir a lot. I don't really know where it comes. I think I've always tried to be very open with the way I sing, I suppose. Just let it come out, and I don't try. I try very hard not to change my accent or anything. So it's just what comes out of me, I suppose. I remember being absolutely terrified the first time I stood up on stage and sung, but that rush is so unique, adrenaline rush, and the feeling afterwards is so amazing. I think that's what sort of drew me to it. But there's thinking about it, looking back on my life, I suppose now, there's not that many people that we'd drawn to doing something like that. It's a very odd thing to do. And I kind of think what was it? What part of my makeup made me want to do that? Sing in front of loads of people.
Because you are I'm not going to say shy, but you're definitely softly spoken, and you're never the loudest person in the room, are you?
No, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I kind of like the music to do the talking, I suppose. That's where you can really express yourself, I guess, be loud. Yeah.
Jack, To Lose My Life, your debut album, made a huge impact. That was back in 2009. What do you remember about that album coming out?
I remember bits of it quite vividly, but then other bits I feel like I've sort of mythologized in my head a bit. But I mean, it was pretty crazy. We were very young. We were 19. When it came out, and it went straight to #1, and pretty much anything from that's day dot in our career, really, when that album went to #1, because everything that happened since then has almost been based around how successful that was. And we're not too snobby about that, to be honest. We still like playing songs from that album, even though you know, in some ways they're almost like a teenage diary because they're so old to us now. Like we've been doing this band longer now than we haven't been doing this band. Like that's how long we've been doing it.
Yeah.
And so to be playing those songs and not hate them is quite nice. But we did, you know, every now and then we revisit it for like a reissue or something, and we have another look through the archives of what we had done at that time, and it's kind of wild. Like, you know, we had orchestras, we had big producers, we had a major label budget, and like we used all of it. We went for it. Like we really went for it, and it's quite I think it is quite an out there album for someone of our like inexperience to have made, because we didn't really know what we were doing. So we had like guiding hands from producers and stuff. Ed Buller was instrumental in finding the band's sound. But yeah, I mean, it was a whirlwind time where we just toured for 2 years, played constantly, and just sort of rode that wave. A really good time, but you know, the sort of thing that you can do when you're really young. Yeah. The thought of it exhausts me now.
I remember it well, and Charles, I guess they're the fondest of memories, but you've evolved as a band. The sound has, I guess, it's still as big as it ever was, but I suppose you've matured.
Yeah, I think we've probably just over the years allowed more of our personalities to sort of infect the music a little bit. I think, and that's as we've just grown up as well. You know, I think as people you do sort of soften, you're able to see more humor in life. You don't perhaps take things quite so seriously as you do when you're, you know, sort of recently pubescent schoolboy, worried about all sorts. And I think we've also just been exposed obviously to 15 plus years of other people's new music. And I think as much as it's always asked of us to sort of draw upon, you know, initial influences when we started and bands that were around then, and also bands that, you know, from the 80s or whatever, it's sort of worth remembering that we've seen well, rises and falls of acts, you know, bands that have been huge and done 3 albums and now are no longer there. And we've probably just been really heavily influenced by a ton of stuff over, like, as I say, over the course of nearly 20 years.
Yeah, a lot of bands have come and gone. And I suppose you sort of swerved indie sleaze, didn't you, to a point?
Yeah. I think that a lot of people tried to attach that label to us, but yeah, I think you're right. I think we managed to swerve it a little bit. Yeah, like, and you know, I think that our music was never really. I don't think it ever really was that as well. Like, I think we pulled, as Charles said, like influences from so many different eras. And we're introduced to, like, as you know, as Jack was saying as well, like we started so young. We've been introduced to so much music since then, and it's all crept into what we create now, I suppose.
So do you think Charles is sort of implying that you take yourselves perhaps a bit less seriously? Because that first album, it was serious. I mean, there's a song called Death on that album. And you sounded like, I mean, you were teenagers, but you sounded like you were 3 albums in. Yeah,
it was quite earnest, I suppose. Like we were, and I think we wanted to be taken seriously, I suppose, like perhaps like in advance of our years. And we certainly like lent towards the melodramatic, I suppose. And I still think that there's elements of that in our music, but we just allow a few more different things to creep into it now, like some more sort of joyful moments, I guess. Yeah.
Shocker, white lines, joyful. Jack, tell me about the new album.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's taken a while to get round to feeling like it's nearly ready to come out, because we started working on it ages ago, but we weren't really on any sort of schedule with it, which was really nice. So we did a lot of time at Harry's house, just sort of demoing and working through songs. And I suppose like the overarching plan for the album was to do something a bit different in the way we recorded it, because despite being, you know, over 15 years into being a band, we've never like done an album where we all perform live in the room and like captured the magic take and put that out as an album. We sort of wanted to try that. We feel like at least we're good enough musicians to do it, and the music that we were writing had a slight sort of 70s element to it that we felt would work really well to do that kind of recording. So we found a beautiful studio up in North London called The Church. We went and rehearsed, which we've never really done before we recorded. Went and rehearsed together as a band for a really long time, a couple of weeks, getting everything feeling tight. And then we went in to the church with like a really short amount of time to record the majority of what we wanted to do. And tried to capture the band doing the thing that we do well, which is play live. And I think it shines through on the album as a whole. There's certain tracks which people won't have heard yet, which I really feel like express it the best. But even the ones that have been released feels like you can hear that what we're going for and like the sort of reference points maybe.
Yeah. The album's called Nightlight, Harry. Is it still as expansive sounding as anything gone by?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like we've always been guilty of, like, I think sometimes throwing too much at tracks, and I think we definitely did that on this album as well. Like I don't know, we never quite feel like they're finished. Like there needs to be one more element before this is done, and I think sometimes we go too far. So it's like very bombastic. Like there's definitely moments where it's like everything in the kitchen sink, you know. But as Jack said, like, I think what we're most proud of is like that live sound to this album. Like the foundations of all of the tracks pretty much are recorded in the room, which was just a great fun, great experience.
And Charles, I think for a band that have never split up, not even any kind of hiatus, you've continually released albums. You're back here supporting Smashing Pumpkins now, and then you have your own big tour in the new year. And credit to you guys, you're playing big venues, and a lot of them are already selling out.
Yeah, we were like, I think, you know, we'd all admit that we're realists on the side of pessimists, probably, when it comes to anything business-wise. Maybe it's just, if you sort of like brace for failure, then you can't get too disappointed. But actually, once the tickets went on sale, like, the first night of the Roundhouse in London and the Albert Hall in Manchester sold out in like 2 hours, which honestly, it's quite rare these days that I feel sort of pleasantly surprised by something that we achieve. And when that sort of email came through that was like, this is selling really well, I think we were all like, bloody hell, that's, wow, that's quite amazing. I think it's, you know, it's testament to the fact that now being sort of 7 albums in, there's no denying that fans that we have that have been with us since 2009, they're just in now, aren't they? I mean, I think if you dedicate that much of your life to liking a certain thing, whether it's a band, a singer, anything, like you're just in. And so the fact that we haven't, or by the time of the shows, we won't have played in London supporting a new album for like 4 years. I guess I do understand why it's a attractive ticket to our loyal fan base. So yeah, we're pumped for that. We've got a lot of work to do before it, which is fine. A bit daunting. It's like, even though we sort of rehearse, as these guys said, like to then record live, we've forgotten it all now. So it was like 9 months ago or something. So we're gonna have to relearn it all, and add all of the parts that we sort of, you know, were kind of like happy coincidences after the fact. But it's gonna be great.
Of course. Yeah. A message for your fans, Harry?
Oh, we just can't wait to see everyone again. Yeah, it's going to be great fun to go out on tour, and also, I think this album is genuinely really good. Like, you know, before we set out to make it, I think we all said to each other, like, there's no point in doing this at this point in our lives, in our careers, if we don't try and make this the best thing we've ever done. And I think we've done that. So, yeah, I hope everyone's looking forward to hearing it.
It's 15 years since we were last together in a pub in London.
Yeah.
You've done amazing.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
You're incredible, and I can't wait to see you on stage. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure. Thanks.